Alright guys, we've got some big updates when it comes to the Mario 40th anniversary and what I think could show up at the show, and a big update with the Nintendo Switch 2 and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and what I've been noticing when it comes to the trends of this game and how it's doing worldwide. So let's go ahead and jump right into the Mario 40th anniversary. We've got to talk about this. I haven't spoke about it too much, but I do think that something is going to be happening, and now we actually have some information that could back that up. Shout outs to My Nintendo News and also other places that have been covering it, and it does seem like a Mario fan thinks that they've discovered the 40th anniversary account. So a Mario fan on Reddit believes that they have discovered the official X account for the series' upcoming 40th anniversary, which was registered in July 2020. And as you may remember, Nintendo did a similar thing and registered an account in July 2020 for Mario's 35th anniversary. The gamer website believes that this one could be the real deal. But as always, we just gotta wait and see what Nintendo is planning. Mario's 40th anniversary is in September, so fingers crossed that we do get something when it comes to this with Mario. So I've actually thought about a number of different things. We've gotten some few rumors here and there that turned out to be debunked, or the whole new Super Mario Bros. Thing, but here's what I think could happen based off of Nintendo obviously wanting to have a big 40th anniversary, because guess what is happening next year? You guys all know the new Mario Bros. Movie is coming out next year, so that's going to be really cool. We don't have an official big new Super Mario Bros. Game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and you know Nintendo's been working on that as well. So let's run down what we could see for this big Mario 40th anniversary. Super Mario Galaxy 2, that is something that people have been wanting, have been waiting for. Nintendo left that out of the Super Mario All-Stars collection for the Nintendo Switch 1, so I think that Super Mario Galaxy 2 absolutely could be something that Nintendo announces, and maybe they even go a step further. They make that like a remaster, like a really nice remaster, not just taking the same Wii game and up-resing it, but actually adding some extra detail and textures and maybe even content to the game that could be more substantial than what we think. Now, once again, could just be Super Mario Galaxy 2. Maybe they just want to do it that way, but you never know with Nintendo. You never know what they have planning up their sleeve when it comes to different games. I mean, they did do a full kind of like remake or super high-end remaster when it comes to Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which some people thought that would just be a port from the GameCube, and that was not the case. So Nintendo always has some tricks up their sleeves with Mario games, and I do think that Super Mario Galaxy 2 absolutely could get the remake or high-end remaster treatment, or just release at some point. As to me, I actually like it more than Super Mario Galaxy 1. I think it's a better game. I think that there's better ideas overall, and it's more refined, as they essentially took all of the cool concepts from Super Mario Galaxy 1 and expanded upon them, and then even added more fun elements to the game. So Super Mario Galaxy 2, definitely a possibility. Next up, New Super Mario Bros. Collection. I know this was debunked already with the whole physical game that people were trying to throw around there, but I do think that it's possible. I mean, look, Nintendo does like New Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. U is one of the best selling games, top 10 selling game on the Nintendo Switch 1 with like 18 million units plus. People really do like New Super Mario Bros. I know a lot of people on Twitter and on YouTube, they'll sit there and say that it's a terrible series and all that, but a lot of people buy and like the games, and a lot of people grew up with those Mario games as their Mario 1, 2, and 3. These are some people's games that they grew up with that became a Mario fan. So I do think that there's a lot of nostalgia attached to New Super Mario Bros. On the DS or the Wii and all of that. So I think that it is possible that Nintendo decides to bring those games over in some type of collection, or bring them over in some type of way to the Nintendo Switch 2. I definitely think it's possible, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I think that Super Mario All-Stars Nintendo Switch 2 Edition or All-Stars Update, I know that they've already been updating the games to have more functionality with the Nintendo Switch 2 because they didn't quite work 100%, and they've updated that to work, but I do think that there could be a re-release of the collection here in some way. Maybe will it be timed or limited? I mean, there always could be that possibility as well, but there's still, I would say, a chance that they bring this game back, and hopefully if they do, it'd be like for good and not just for like 6 months or something, because that was a whole problem. That was a whole controversy and thing there. But I don't know, they might not just bring it back at all. They might just say, hey, you know what, it is what it is. We produced 10 million of those cartridges out there. They're starting to go up in price. I think that this would be a great time for a Switch 2 edition of that and get all of those games running at 60 FPS as well. I think that'd be pretty cool with Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine, in addition to Mario Galaxy. So that's always possible as well. And then I'd probably say like the big finale or final thing. I mean, there could be some smaller stuff like Mario 35. Remember that game where you have all those Marios running around and the last one standing wins. That was also taken offline as well. Maybe they bring something like that back. But I think that a brand new big Super Mario game for the Nintendo Switch 2 is absolutely coming. It is happening. There's no doubt in my mind that Nintendo is hard at work on the next big 3D Mario game. Some people think that just because they had Donkey Kong Bonanza, that means that the Mario team or the Odyssey team or people at Nintendo aren't working on a 3D Mario, and that's just not the case. Nintendo's always looking, always waiting for the next opportunity, the next ideas to put into the next big 3D Mario. So Nintendo has plenty of employees. They've got a lot of people that work when it comes to the Mario teams, and they have people that shuffle over and kind of move as they need to when it comes to developing certain games. So I do think that they've been working on a brand new big 3D Mario game, and it could be revealed at this Mario 40th anniversary event. And I think that that is going to be one of the headliner games for 2026. You don't want to wait too long when it comes to Mario. Nintendo doesn't really wait more than, I would say, a year. That's about the furthest they would wait for a big 3D Mario game to release on their system. So I would expect, at least at the bare minimum, an announcement before the 1 year of the Nintendo Switch 2, which is next year in June. I highly doubt that Nintendo will not have a big 3D Mario game announced by then. And I think that the Mario 40th anniversary, since it's the big 4-0, that absolutely is the place to reveal it. And of course, once again, the Mario Bros. Movie, it just all makes sense in terms of how that could happen with Nintendo. So I do think that that will happen, but we're going to have to wait and see how all of this works out with Mario and the 40th anniversary and what they decide to do. I think it's going to be interesting in this last portion of the year. But what do you guys think about all of this? Let me know in the comment section below. But before we get into the next topic, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you are someone new, and click that notification bell to get my vids as soon as they drop. And let me know what big Mario games you want to see on the Nintendo Switch 2 in the comment section below. Moving on to the next topic, and that is Donkey Kong Bonanza and the Nintendo Switch 2. There's been a lot said, or more like I see a lot of people say stuff online, talk about how, oh, the initial demand for the Nintendo Switch 2 has dried up. Nobody is buying it as much. I can see it in stores. And it's just ridiculous, in my opinion, at least, because the best thing when it comes to combating scalping and combating problems that people said that Nintendo was going to do intentionally, by the way, like artificial scarcity, is to actually put out a number of systems and to have regular production of those systems. And that's exactly what the Nintendo Switch 2 is doing. And you can see, or you can track how well it's doing based off of Amazon and based off the different best sellers charts and what you can see there. And if you go on Amazon, the one thing that I've noticed is that since Donkey Kong Bonanza has released and since Amazon has went back to selling Nintendo systems in addition to first-party games, Donkey Kong Bonanza has been the #1 new release game. Nintendo Switch 2 has been #2 in new releases. Now at this point, Nintendo Switch 2 is #1 in new releases, and Donkey Kong Bonanza is #2. So even more people are buying the Nintendo Switch 2 at this point as the stock continues to flow in. And also, if you look at stuff like Best Buy, or if you look at Target, a lot of them have regular stock going in and out in terms of the amount available for the different stores. But it's just cool to see that the Nintendo Switch 2 is the #1 selling system on Amazon and actually went above Donkey Kong Bonanza. And the system's going to continue selling because if you look at the marketplace right now, and if you look at the landscape, more like if you look at the landscape, what is actually selling right now at this point, right? You have the PlayStation 5, which last quarter sold around 2.5 million units, which is not bad at all. Don't get me wrong, that's not bad. But that's not like any type of world-shattering number when it comes to a system that has complete third-party support, full third-party support, and pretty much the de facto default system for almost every single game. It sold 2.5 million units in the last 3 months out there. Like I said, not bad, but it's not like it's lighting the world on fire right now when it comes to sales. You look at the Xbox Series, that is not sold really much at all. They consistently sell worse and worse every single quarter, year on year. We know that the Xbox Series is not selling. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch 1, that is not selling that much either. Not at this point. It's pretty much on its way out, and it's already sold 153 million units worldwide. So that's also not selling massive amounts either. It's still selling a bit. They sold about 1 million units in the last 3 months, last quarter, but that's not selling anything crazy. right now the two systems that are selling are the Nintendo Switch 2 and the PlayStation 5. That is the console marketplace at this point. So when I hear people say that it's not selling or it's not doing well, it's like, so then what is? Just the PlayStation 5? It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, you can look at the sales trackers overall. You can look at Amazon, #1 system being sold. You can look at bestsellers on Target, bestsellers on Best Buy. You can see when it comes down to that. Plus, I also have some sources that I check in with when it comes to retail and the stock allocation. And they regularly get systems in, regularly being sold as well. Stuff like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart World Bundle, helping to push the system through the summer here. And then I actually read an article saying that Nintendo is ramping up the production because they know that Pokemon Legends ZA is coming out, and they're also going to have Metroid Prime 4. They're going to have Kirby Air Riders. There's going to be a number of titles, and who knows what's happening with the Mario 40th anniversary. So there's probably going to be maybe something there that's going to entice people to go pick up a system. So at this point, we have two systems that are going to sell, or two systems that have the potential to sell somewhat decently or good, and that's the PS5 and the Nintendo Switch 2. And that's it, guys. The portable PCs aren't really selling at all. I don't know what people are saying. Or do they want somebody to have a monopoly on console sales? I'm not really sure. But those are the two systems that are selling right now, and it's the Nintendo Switch 2 and the PlayStation 5. Getting into the next topic, we've got a new update on Octopath Traveler 0 for the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 1, Xbox, PlayStation, PC. It's all over the place, but the official HD2D account actually put up some new information on Octopath Traveler 0. I'm going to be covering this game a lot, so I want to go over what they had to say. Shout outs to Stealth as well. He covered it on Twitter, and he states that Octopath Traveler 0 has over 30 playable characters and an 8-character turn-based battle system with front and back row mechanics. So that is definitely a difference between the original games that have 4 characters, but this one's actually 8 overall. Now, the characters from the previous Octopath games will also be playable and must fit into the narrative somehow, because there's this large branching narrative with Octopath Traveler 0 that incorporates all the different previous games and those characters as well. So it's a pretty big cast. Usually in Octopath Traveler games, you've got 8 characters total, and you have 4 characters that you can use at any one time. And then while you have your mainline characters that are out there at the front battling, the other 4 characters are at the tavern, and at any point you can go to a tavern, you can switch them out. But I think that the biggest issue for me when it comes to Octopath Traveler and how they do things is that those characters that are in the tavern that are not in your active party, they don't get any experience. Now, I'm not sure if I remember exactly if Octopath Traveler 2 helps out with that a bit or not, but I'm really hoping that Octopath Traveler 0 makes sure that if a character is not in your active party, that they are getting experience. Otherwise, you're just going to have your certain favorites that you want to use, and all the other ones are just going to be left by the wayside. So I'm hoping that they adjust that to where all characters get experience overall, so you can easily switch and swap out characters. And with 30 different characters there, I mean, that's a lot to be trying to micromanage and get experience with each one if you like that character or not. So we'll kind of see what happens there. They did state on here that it's introducing a new battle system where you can switch between front and back lines. So that's once again new compared to what we got beforehand, where it was just 4 characters at a time. So this is going to play a lot different from Octopath Traveler 1 and Octopath Traveler 2. And then it also states that now you can enjoy faster, more strategic battles. So of course, with the 8 characters, you're going to have to speed up the pace just a bit when it comes to how the characters interact, what you want to do, how their battle commands come up. So this is going to be a very differently paced game than what we saw before. Now, to Stealth's point, when it comes to the narrative, yeah, intertwining all of that is going to be very interesting, but they've done stuff like that before, like in the Bravely Default series and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure Square Enix will get some way to get that done. I'm more interested to see exactly how this 8-character party formation is going to work, along with having around 30 plus characters that you can have on your team from all the different Octopath games, and of course new characters as well. In this game, you have your own created character that you can customize, and there's also town building aspects as well. So there's a lot of new elements in this game that are going to make it a very different title from Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, and you might not actually love everything from this. So it's going to be interesting to see what core fans of Octopath Traveler, what they like or dislike, or if they feel that this is a better gameplay system than what we got before. I know I'm excited for it. It's coming out on December 4th, so I'll be picking that up on the Nintendo Switch too. So what do you guys think about Octopath Traveler 0 and the switch ups to the battle formations and combat this time around? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think overall when it comes to everything that we talked about here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.